The departure board blinked its cold, unblinking stare. Daniel Carter stood in line at gate 14, bouncing on the heels of his worn-out sneakers. His flight to New York was the only thing between him and the biggest job interview of his life. 2 years ago, he'd been laid off from his job at an architecture firm. He'd done freelance work here and there, enough to pay the bills, but never enough to really progress. This gig at the big firm, well, that could change everything for him. But right now, he was stuck. The line began to move. Boarding had started. He clutched his ticket and laptop bag, silently praying. But just as he took a step forward, he noticed something. A splash of purple amidst the gray sea of travelers. An old woman, hunched and trembling, stood near the far wall. Her purse had fallen and no one seemed to notice, or maybe no one cared. For a second, Daniel hesitated. He looked at the gate, then back at the woman. He sighed, stepped out of line, and hurried over. "Ma'am, you okay?" he asked gently. The woman looked up. Her face was wrinkled, tired, but her eyes were sharp. "I dropped my bag. These old bones don't cooperate anymore." Daniel knelt, picked it up, and helped her sit. "Thank you, son. These airports can be so loud and busy. It's hard to keep track of things when you're not feeling well." Daniel couldn't help but smile. "No problem, ma'am. Let me walk you to your gate." He gestured towards the distant entrance of Gate 22. "It's all right." "Nope. I've got time." He didn't, but she didn't need to know that. They walked slowly, painfully slowly. She stopped every few steps to catch her breath. The airline staff offered no assistance. The carts had already gone. By the time they got to the gate, the plane was boarding, but not his plane. His flight was long gone. He didn't say a word. He just smiled and handed her off to the gate agent. "She's all yours now." The old woman turned and looked at him. "You missed your flight, didn't you?" Daniel shrugged. "I'll figure something out. You just get there safe, okay?" Her eyes sparkled. "You're a rare one, young man." And with that, she was gone. He watched her go before turning back to the gate agent. He had to do something quickly. He needed to find another way to New York. The agent saw the desperation on his face and pointed him to the standby desk. Daniel explained his situation. The agent looked at him for a moment, then nodded towards the desk. "You might have better luck there, son." Back at the ticket counter, Daniel explained what had happened. The clerk frowned. "Sorry, sir. That flight was non-refundable and non-transferable. I can put you on standby for the next one, but it'll be $320. Daniel sighed. His bank account had $86 in it. "That's okay. Thanks anyway." He turned to leave. Then a voice behind him said, "Excuse me, are you Daniel Carter?" He turned. A woman in a blazer and badge stood there. Beside her, the frail old woman, now looking not so frail, with a smirk on her face. "This is him," she said to the staff member. The woman in the blazer stepped forward. "Mr. Carter, Miss Evelyn Rothschild would like to thank you personally." Daniel blinked. "I'm sorry." "Rothschild?" The old woman chuckled. "Owner, founder, CEO, retired, technically, but still watching, always watching." His mouth fell open. "You gave up your opportunity for a stranger," she said. "That tells me more about your character than any resume ever could." She looked at the staff. "Get this man a first-class ticket to New York. Put him on my airline. Today." Daniel found himself sitting in first class, still in shock, sipping complimentary coffee with trembling hands. He looked out the window as the plane took off and smiled. He hadn't made the job interview, but something told him that didn't matter anymore. Because sometimes kindness is the real application, and someone's always watching. Hours later, as the plane touched down in New York, Daniel Carter walked out, blinking against the bright lights and sounds of the city that never sleeps. He took a deep breath, the crisp air filling his lungs. Here he was, back in the concrete jungle where dreams were made of, thanks to a chance encounter with a mysterious old woman who taught him a valuable lesson. His phone vibrated. He pulled it out to see a new message from an unknown number. It read, "Evelyn, call me when you reach your hotel. We need to talk." Daniel smiled. He knew this wasn't just about getting a job. This was about starting a journey that could change his life forever. The old woman, Evelyn Rothschild, had been keeping a close eye on Daniel. She'd seen the kindness in his eyes when he'd helped her, the integrity in his actions, the determination in the way he carried himself. She knew even before their paths had crossed that there was something special about him. Her company needed someone with those qualities, someone who could lead them into the future, and she decided right then that Daniel Carter was going to be that someone. As Daniel hailed a cab to his hotel, he thought back to the airport. He remembered the dull ache in his heart when he'd realized he'd missed his flight, the quiet desperation that had settled in his stomach. But he also remembered the sparkle in the old woman's eyes when he'd helped her, the sense of purpose that had replaced his despair. It was as if she'd shown him a different path, a path less ordinary, but one that felt more true to himself. Stepping into his room, Daniel sank onto the plush bed, the soft fabric enveloping him like a warm hug. Around him, the room hummed with the energy of possibility. He pulled out his laptop, the familiar weight grounding him. As the message from Evelyn popped up on his screen, he typed back, "On my way." Daniel walked into Evelyn's office feeling a mix of anticipation and nerves. This was his chance, the opportunity he'd been waiting for, but it had come in the most unexpected way. Evelyn sat behind her massive desk, her gaze steady and sharp. Her office was a reflection of her, classic yet powerful. Daniel extended his hand. "Evelyn, it's an honor." She smiled, a network of lines crinkling around her eyes. "The honor is all mine, Daniel. I've been watching you, you know." He raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Watching me? How?" She leaned back in her chair. "At the airport, helping my grandmother, missing your flight to make sure I had a first-class seat on the next one." Daniel blushed. "I just wanted to help." She waved a hand dismissively. "No need to explain. It was that act of kindness that brought you here today." Their conversation flowed easily, punctuated by Daniel's genuine responses and Evelyn's knowing smiles. She shared stories of the company, its challenges, its dreams. She talked about her vision for the future and how she saw Daniel fitting into it perfectly. But it wasn't just a job interview. It was a connection, a sense of mutual respect and admiration that transcended the professional. As the meeting drew to a close, Evelyn leaned forward, her eyes twinkling. "Do you accept the position?" Daniel hesitated for a moment, savoring the gravity of the question. "Yes," he said, a wide grin spreading across his face. "I accept." The city lights twinkled below as Daniel stood by the window, a contented sigh escaping his lips. He had a job, yes, but he'd also found something more profound, a mentor, a guide, a friend. Evelyn wasn't just an employer. She was an enabler, someone who saw the best in him and pushed him to reach it. And it all started with a simple act of kindness, a missed flight, and a destiny waiting to be seized.